right, so the Gripshover family, right? Okay, so we got this Ancestry.com. I'm sitting here in front of the. This is what I'm looking at, all right? So I just want to show everybody what it is that I'm looking at with Ancestry.com. Now, when it comes down to what information that we have, what do we know, about the family, there's only so much evidence. There's only so much pieces of information and evidence out there. So we know more. Let's see, we know less than more. Okay, so we know very little actually when it comes to. Now, when it comes to Johann and Anna Catherine and the 7 children coming from Otmar's Bachold on the Deutschland coming to America in 1869. Now, we know a lot about that. We know a lot about them, where their land was, how much they sold it for, what the deed was, what day they left Bremen, Germany, or Bremenhaven. When they left Bremenhaven, then they came to Castle Gardens, and they come to Kentucky, and then there were 7 of the siblings, right, of the children, and we know where all the children went too, right? So we know the children. We know Johann and Anna Catherine when they got here. We don't know beforehand. Okay, so we don't know. We know. Let's see. We know. Basically, let's see. Let's look at this Ancestry.com. So we have those here, right here, Johann and Anna C. Brueggemann, right? So Anna Katharina, and then Johann Bernhard Gripshover. It's actually the second. There's 2 of them, right? This is the first one here, and supposedly he died on the 14th, but I also heard he died in 1838, and so that's the point. That's the point. Okay, so whereas this information here with Johann Bernhard Gripshover and Anna Catherine Brueggemann and all their children, we have lots of pieces of paper that has official pieces of paper that says that they were here. So U.S. Census, death certificates, birth certificates. We have a lot of official sort of paperwork that says that these folks were here. Now, who their parents was, who Anna Catherine Brueggemann's parents were, and who Johann Bernhard Gripshover's parents were, and their lineages are a little bit. I want more verification myself. Now, these are leads. These are leads. So whereas we don't have the evidence, we don't have the piece of paper, an official piece of paper, a death certificate, or a birth certificate, or any census or military documents or anything online that's been scanned in, right? I've seen marriage certificates with just a notebook paper. They would just sign a notebook paper and then just punch that in, and that was supposed to be good enough. So that's the so-called evidence, and that's going to be the evidence I would look for. So how do you find out? The earliest known Gripshover we have is somebody that was born in 1710. So Bernhard Gripshover Hegeman, and Hegeman supposedly said about the land. Gripshover was actually the name of the land, and so Hegeman was the man. It'd be Bernhard Hegeman of Gripshover of the land, and then eventually Gripshover became his name. And it's also Shover with the umlaut over the O. So if it would have been proper spelling in English is Gripshoever. But nobody in America spells Gripshover correctly. So that's, I don't know. We don't really know the origins of the name or where we all came from. So, fuck it, right? We're just gonna keep on doing, making it up as we go on. But anyways, that's the earliest known Gripshover that supposedly, and where I got this information was other users on Ancestry.com. So other people, other families have looked through this stuff, and then somebody came across this information and these dates, and it even has he died November 30th, 1784 in Otmar's Bachold. Very specific information, and then he's married to Anna Wildman, right? So we know the name of the spouse when she was born. We know his name. We know the next guy's name, and again it's Bernhard Gripshover. So we see Bernhard, we see another Bernhard, and Otmar's Bachold. Clara Ackerman is who she marries, right? So we got an Ackerman here. So we're part, not just Gripshovers, we're automatically half Brueggemann. Anybody that's Gripshover in America, automatically half their blood is Brueggemann because of Anna Catherine Brueggemann. But we're seeing right now how really we could be much more. And so this is my theory. This is going to be my old Deutschland, my old Gripshover ancestor Deutschland theory, and that's fine until I get more verification. I won't feel 100% with what it is that I'm actually presenting when it comes before Johann and Anna Katharina, but they're good leads. And so when somebody goes to Germany and they go and check out some of these names and dates, either you will find information that will confirm or deny what it is that we're saying here today. Okay, so the whereas we're 100% Bruggerman, now we look at these other names. We also could be Wildman, we could be Claire Ackerman, we could also be Katharina Koning. So we could have Koning blood, Ackerman blood, and Wilderman blood, or Wildman blood, right? So that sort of expands who it is that we are as Gripshovers, who we are as people. It's not just Gripshover blood, because this is Johann and Anna Katharina. These are the pioneers, right? So these are the very ones in the these are Johann Bernard Gripshover the first, and actually I'm going to change. We'll put it as the second because that's, and you also get you get an idea of what it is. I'm looking at here. So I'll come here, and this is Johann Bernard Gripshover. This is the second, right? Because his father was also Johann Bernard, so therefore he would be the second. He was known as Barney throughout his life, so nobody probably called him Johann. He had inherited his farm. His father had died. I don't know if his father had died, several years after he was born, or many years. So I don't know if he actually grew up with a father or not. But we know, we know enough. We know enough to say that we have lineage. We have birthdays and death days and marriage days. So we have something to go on when somebody finally makes their voyage to Otmars Bechol, to 23 Dorf Bar Shaft, to Monster Germany, to any of those. And actually, I've with Ancestry.com, I went ahead and got the some of the documents from Germany, but I don't know German, and so it's hard for me to kind of like scan German documents. And I don't think there's anything that was really relevant or necessary in it. Okay, so Johann Bernard Gripshover, he's the main pioneer. This is the main Gripshover to end all Gripshovers, the OG. And I say OG, you see that when you see OG attached to a name, you know exactly which Gripshover you're talking about. You're talking about an ancestor, and you're talking about an original Gripshover, one of the originals, okay? So who are the originals? Well, the ones we're 100% sure of, the original Gripshovers. This is the father. This is the patriarch, okay? This is the man here. Born in Otmars Bechol, he dies in Sanford Town. He's the one that gets the family from Westphalen, from Otmars Bechol, Westphalia, right? Prussia. He's the one that gets all the Prussians into Kentucky, and so he gets them into Sanford Town, which is a German town, and then he owns land. He's able to own land there. The oldest is able to own land, and also the Henry's able to own land. So he's, and his wife too. So him, his wife, his eldest, and Henry, they're all able to own land when they get to America. And why does, I have no idea why Henry loses it, right? I have no idea. Catherine, Henry, Catherine Dickman, Kate Dickman, Henry Gripshover, and then their two daughters, Mary and Kate. Kate goes to the Lakeland Asylum in Jefferson County, right? So they go to Lakeland Asylum, and they go to in Jefferson County, and it's she's a 47-year-old white female illiterate person in this insane asylum in 1930. Why is she there? Nobody knows. Also, hear that the Henry Gripshover was put into an insane asylum, and there was also the mother had issues too. So who are we talking about here? Okay, this is what I'm looking at. This is a good overview, and actually start with 820, right? But go to 820, and you'll see here we have the main Johann Gripshover and Anna Catherine Bruggerman, right? Here's Johann Gripshover, and we've passed, we've went ahead and checked out where all the Gripshovers, the lineage is, right? We've been able to get it down to 1710. That's the last of the data. Nobody else has anything farther than that. So we see 2 generations, 3 generations of Barney Gripshovers, Bernard Gripshovers, and we see Johann, and he's actually, Johann the second. And also Bruggerman, they had owned a farm right next to Otmars Bechol, so they're right in the same area. It says Südkirchen, Coesfeld, Nordrhein, Westphalen, right? So that's in a very similar area. And then we also see that there's, we got some possible connections here. They're the Bruggermans of today. There's 2 Gripshover Bruggerman connections. Later on, we're going to have Mary Martha Gripshover is going to marry, or Mary Martha Bruggerman. Mary Martha Gripshover is going to marry a Bruggerman, and then we're going to have a lot of Bruggerman Gripshover children from there. But ultimately, in that, from those Bruggermans, from all those children, they actually got from their Gripshover blood a double dose of Bruggerman, because all of their Gripshover blood, half of it automatically is Bruggerman blood. So they're more related to each other than actually what they think. Okay, so that's Johann Gripshover and Anna C. Bruggerman. Now come down to here. Now we have 7 children, and so where do the 7 children go? That was actually That was a fun journey, I guess, for me or whatever, to kind of see where do the seven children go. You have the eldest, you have a girl, and then you got six boys. And I was talking about Henry, and I'm just going to go down the line here. But you see, it's got all these, and it's got lots of branches, and so to get it all, this isn't 100% perfect. Okay, when we look at some of this stuff, it should be, and I need to update it. But this is sort of just an overview, right? I just wanted to kind of get an overview of where it is I came from and what my different generations was. All right, so we come here, we see Catherine Gripshover. So this is the eldest child who was come on the Deutschland, come on the boat, come to America. She gets here, she marries two people, right? Automatically, she's not even in the census. They get here 1869, then there's an 1870 census. She's not living in the house in that census, so automatically she's living somewhere else, and she doesn't get married for like another year or two. To I think Verkamp, and then she's with Verkamp and has married Mamie Verkamp and Anna Verkamp, and then she gets with Anton John Thibey TB or something, and then that guy's living there too. So the Gripshover name actually dies with Catherine Gripshover, right? She has two girls, but they're both last name Verkamp, and then she has a boy, but his last name is the same as the second father. So this is, out of the six boys that came over, and the Gripshover name dies, but the Gripshover / Burgerman blood is still in existence. So when Catherine Gripshover, any of the descendants of when the Verkamps or whoever, Anton John Thibin, I feel like this name may be off or wrong, but it's like the closest that we have. So whenever any of these folks come by and they say, hey, we're Gripshover too, they are 100% correct. They are totally telling the truth. And that's that could be significant, but that's where she goes. We get to follow where these seven children of Johann and Anna Catherine go, and that's actually part of the fun process too, because this is so far removed. I don't know any of these people. I don't know any of these. I barely even know, like, my grandparents were both dead before I was even born, or my grandfather dies when I was 2. So I didn't know any of my grandparents. I don't know any of this. So this is all complete news to me, every bit of it. And whenever I find something interesting, like Henry goes to the nut house or goes to the insane asylum or whatever, that's an interesting story, and it actually kind of makes me wonder, how do the children of Henry grow out of that? Are they, do they fall in line with it and they're all crazy, or do they sort of, go above and beyond the call of duty? Same thing with Catherine Gripshover. She's the girl. So how do the girls fare, right? They got the Gripshover name, and they care about, when it comes to land, they pass it to there's traditions of passing it to the male, right? Just like the name is patriarchal lineage. But whereas they actually give it out equally. When Anna Catherine is the last one to die, Johann's going to die first, and then Anna Catherine gives the land, and she divides it equally amongst everybody that's still alive. Is Catherine still alive? I don't know. I have no idea if she's still alive or not. Okay, so that's any piece of information actually just makes it interesting. Who is Catherine Gripshover? I have no idea. She has 2 husbands, and she dies fairly young, 1891. She was only, she wasn't even here 50 years. She was only here 40, let's see, 50, 51, 42 years. So she dies when she's 42 years old. She didn't get to experience America that long. She was actually probably in Germany for 20 years, and then she's in America for 20 years. So she got to spend her childhood in Germany, and she got to spend her adulthood here in America. Who is she? Where is she at? What did she like? Did she like wearing certain types of clothing? Did she like watching TV? Was she a devout Catholic? Like, what is she? I don't know. There's a certain personality aspect that I'm not picking up. And so when I learned about Henry going to the nut house or being a barn burner, that adds something to it. And I don't use that to judge any of the, descendants of that. Theodore, he drowns when he's like, he's in 1901. And who's Theodore? So let's actually scroll through some of this. And that's not a bad, he had an accident. Accidents happen. It's not like being crazy, but it's not exactly something you go around bragging about. Hey, my great-great-grandfather, fell in a creek and caught pneumonia. But it's something that had happened. And so how does a family of 6 or 7 children, 1 wife and 7 children, how does she fare? And that's an interesting story. I want to see how that story actually turns out. So we see Theodore, we see his children. I see a picture of him holding strawberries, and then I see him, I hear about him falling in the creek, and then I hear about him dying of pneumonia. And then, the mother marries on, and then I think actually that's where Mary Martha Gripshover marries the Burgerman from that lineage. because her mother was a widow, and her mother had to kind of fend for herself, got a husband, and then the eldest daughter, Gripshover daughter, reached out to a Bruggerman who was probably in the area and said, "Hey, I'll take care of you. You ain't got a father no more," and I don't know. But that's that was Mary Martha Bruggerman was started out by being a Theodore, right? By being a Theodore descendant. So I'm actually going to stop this and then carry on with another one.